It was quite a long path. It's not happened in one day, of course. We learned a lot, but we understood that if we want to give something to the people, we need to do a great support, especially in accounts area, just because every business is different. And that's why our support was the first part, in addition to technology, that was created in the company.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be a great one. Our guest is an entrepreneur who has been in the fintech space for the past decade, focusing on online sales, accounting, bookkeeping, and business automation. He is the CEO of a successful startup called Synder, which is an automation software for making e-commerce bookkeeping an absolutely smooth experience. Michael Astreiko, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for having me. And hello to all the bookkeepers audience.
Yes, and it's great to have you, and it's great to have an entrepreneur on the podcast. Our listeners are entrepreneurs themselves, and not only is it exciting to hear about an entrepreneur's journey, but it's also inspirational. And this one's kind of a bonus because your business actually helps our listener in their life and the work that they do in bookkeeping. So we're going to get to all of that. But before we do that, Michael, tell us about your career journey leading up to this point.
Yep, I will be quite fast here, as it was first of all, being a software developer. I came from this field and I worked in several companies as a developer, and then I realized that I want to build something myself, and I started a service company where I was held in a CTO role for several startups in different areas, entertainment, and somewhere in accounting. We have several clients as well, and after that, we moved to doing our own products in accounting. And at some point, we realized that doing your own products have much more fun than just doing a service and doing custom products. Yep. So you create not just one product for one client, but you create one product for hundreds and thousands of clients. So this was the path for about 10, 15 years. Yeah.
Wow. And always love to hear what were some of the major challenges, because when you go from building a one-off for a one customer to a one-to-many, obviously there must have been some challenges along the way.
Yeah, sure. Of course, when you're doing something for one client, you don't think a lot about things like marketing or sales. All your sales, it's people who just trust you personally. Yeah. And here, when you build a product for hundreds and thousands, you should build a product that people will trust to the company, not just you as a person. Yeah. And it's completely different relations between product team and all our clients. It was challenging. We have to build our customer support team from scratch, from 0 people to about 20 people. Yep, similar to marketing and similar to sales. So it was quite a long path. It's not happened in one day, of course. We learned a lot, but we understood that if we want to give something to the people, we need to do a great support, especially in accounts area, just because every business is different. And that's why our support was the first part, in addition to technology, that was created in the company.
It's such an interesting concept as well from the point that your solution, Synder, it helps not just bookkeepers, but it helps businesses. I mean, this whole thing around e-commerce. So not only do you have your end customer to think about and dealing with them and having them trust your business, but there's also all of the other people that might work with and be a part of your solution in making it a success for the customer. So did that come with any challenges in that area?
Yeah, sure, because it's completely different how you talk to a bookkeeper and how you talk to a business owner. Yep, it's a challenge of creating different onboarding path in software. It's a challenge to create different ways of communications with business owners and bookkeepers. And always you, as an entrepreneur, if you think about just a business, not just about doing especially this sphere, as an entrepreneur, you always have challenges like people around you saying that nothing will be possible to do. So you should overcome this and do what you want to do, what you believe in. And that's why we understand entrepreneurs, and that's why we also understand our bookkeeper clients, because they also entrepreneurs in this way. They created their own businesses.
Mm. So in terms of Synder, I mean, if there's an area that I've heard recently, people pulling their hair out, it's e-commerce and this whole connection between Amazon and Shopify and Stripe and all these different things out there. And it's almost like they built these systems without thinking about the end game of actually having impeccable bookkeeping and the records and what's needed in order to fulfill on the duties of the finances of a business. It's like an afterthought. And from my understanding, this is very much a big pain for our listener. And your solution is helpful in that area. Tell us about Synder.
Okay. Synder is a platform that automates bookkeeping for e-commerce businesses, first of all. When we think about this, when we think about complexity, I will give you just a simple example. Imagine you're in an e-commerce business and you are selling sunglasses, okay? And someone purchased 2 pairs of sunglasses, and you have a Shopify. And in Shopify, for example, you have a PayPal and credit card options for the clients. And someone purchased 2 pairs of sunglasses with PayPal. And in the end of the day, you have data about this transaction in 3 data sources. PayPal has information about your $20 purchase and $2 fees. Shopify has information about 2 pairs of sunglasses, and bank has exact amount of $18 of your money. And the problem here is how you connect this data. Yes, because if you do it in an old-fashioned way with an Excel files, you need to have an Excel file from Shopify and Excel file from PayPal, somehow merge it, because it's only one purchase. But you need to, with all this merge, you need to put into a bookkeeping system like QuickBooks, Xero, or any other. Profit $20, loss $2, and asset 2 pairs of sunglasses. So this is what Synder is doing today and providing for bookkeepers and business owners.
It's, first glance, I would imagine our listener right now is going, yes. I mean, and when you say it that way, it's like, yeah, you get how the complexity of this. But I would imagine there'd be a big challenge for most business owners, because there's so many business owners that are getting into the business of e-commerce. I mean, COVID happened in 2020. I mean, huge migration to e-commerce. But even before that, people are selling online and getting into this side of the business, but not really understanding the implications of making sure all of what you just said, those three data sources, are actually being collected properly, being accounted for properly, and end up with a mess. What have you seen or heard, or in your experience with this?
Yep. So we see lots of potential in this market in terms of lots of huge growth of new businesses who are adapting. Yep. And of course, it's challenging for them to start selling online. Only in the United States, for example, online grocery in 2020 go up from 5% to 10%. Yep, online grocery in compared to all grocery. Yep. And similar for retail businesses and for all others. It's growing in a huge way. And the main problem here is to select properly what sales channels and what payment providers you want to use, first of all, because sometimes people and business owners just do like themselves accounting based on money they have in their bank account. Yep, and this is wrong. And all the bookkeepers understand that this is wrong, because in fact, PayPal will send at the end of the year, information about all money they processed for you, and there will be information about gross amount, not just net amount. So yeah, here I would suggest to any newcomer business who come into e-commerce sphere, have a consultant as a bookkeeper who is already working with e-commerce sphere. Because even right now, our first goal, our first thing that we are trying to achieve with our clients is to train them, to explain them accounting. And bookkeepers are the guys who already know accounting, and they don't need it, and they can help to business owners how to help them. And that's why we in Synder, for example, have an accounting directory inside Synder, so that business owners can find accountants who are already working with e-commerce in the e-commerce sphere and be much more successful.
So I mean, music to our listeners' ears. Yeah, and definitely what we stand very strongly around here is that every successful business needs a successful bookkeeper on their side, working for them, advising them. And in this particular case, someone who's an expert and has great experience in e-commerce bookkeeping, which is an expanding and growing opportunity. So listener, if this is something that interests you, this is perk up those ears. This is something to be paying attention to. When you see people, bookkeepers get Synder, I mean, they've been doing it, they're figuring it out, Excel spreadsheets, click, here to go, solve this problem, solve that problem. Then all of a sudden they get Synder. Tell us what that's like for the bookkeeper that now has an app that's designed and built to do exactly what they may have had to be doing manually. What's their experience?
Yep. This is a great question because this is exactly aligned with the industry. Yep. There are much more clients appearing in the industry, much more businesses coming to e-commerce. And once the bookkeepers remove all their Excel work and do trust to solutions like Synder, at some point they become much more available for new clients. Yeah. So, and we see the stories when bookkeepers come to Synder and gain from 10 to 20 new clients in Synder with Synder. Yep. So, and previously they were able to manage only 10 clients. Now they're able to manage 20, 25 clients. So it's just increase their availability for their clients because it's remove all the manual tasks they have to do.
Amazing. So this is a big productivity play, knowing that it's going to get the work done, get it done right, trust and confidence in it. And then as well, I would imagine because you're an organization that's working specifically in this area, you would have a lot of expertise in your community of users to handle questions and challenges when they come up. If you think about it, this is a new area. There's lots of unknowns for many people. They're just getting into it. And so that's what your business does, is actually focus on helping businesses do this. You would have a lot of expertise in this area to help people get through challenges when they come up.
Yep. Right now, it's the main topic we are trying to put into our blog site as well, so that to accumulate our expertise for the new clients. Our support team is putting their content that they gathered with their clients, and just our marketing team just make it in a bit better words to explain to all over the world.
Wonderful. I'd love to hear, there's lots that has changed. I mean, we say it's almost kind of a crazy question to ask, the future of bookkeeping in the e-commerce business, because it feels like we're living in the future today. I mean, we're almost flying around in cars. It feels like sometimes with all the rapid change that's happening around us. But what do you see as the coming trends of where things are going in this space from a bookkeeper's perspective?
Yep. I think, like you said, we already living in a change, yeah. We already living in COVID times, yeah, and we already living in a way where digital transformation happens much more faster than it was before COVID, yeah. And saying that, you can understand that every job that is available right now will be evolved. And from my perspective, what I see right now, bookkeepers will be not people who just put in data, but who can advise in different niches, how to put this data properly, Because even in Synder, you have an APIs and everything is automatically, You can you do your bookkeeping automatically, but all your configurations, how you track your refunds, what account to use for your fees, Stripe fees, how you manage multi-currency, all this setup should be done by a bookkeeper who is specializing in e-commerce sphere, So
yes, agreed.
We see them as an advisors to the business more. We see them as the main users of our automation platforms, because we are creating these platforms mainly for them to help. We have a same goal to help business to succeed, And we provide technology part, and they can provide knowledge part, because every business is different. And we have, for example, custom rules. Imagine you are selling something from Canada to United States through Amazon, and Amazon just in terms of accounting does not give you sales tax for all the sales, because you sold outside of the country, no tax. But in Canada, it's you have to have any tax, just even zero, but it should be stated that it's zero, and you can create just a simple rule for all your sales outside Canada. And this will be handled automatically in Synder. And this is something that business usually does not understand how to do. And bookkeeper do.
Oh, yes. And that there is just one very good example of not only do they not know how to do it, they don't know that they need to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is part of the problem. And, there's never been a better time to be a bookkeeper, in my opinion. It's such an exciting time, especially with exciting applications that you've built in Synder, because it's making their life easier, but they're getting it's not making it life easy. It's like they're giving them more power and control. And so the opportunity is configuration and setup and making sure that it's set up correctly and always ongoing. People are not building a business that's static. It's like, we don't, it's like, oh, all I do is I build, this WYSIWYG, and we have that system that runs it, and we're never going to change, and we're never going to do anything different. the moment a business changes anything in the business, the bookkeeper needs to know about it. The bookkeeper needs to anticipate the implications of how it's going to impact the business. And so something like Synder, you set it up, there's all these different configurations, but then, there's a new sales channel, or there's a new part of the business that's happening, or, some tax laws changed here in this country, and we have to start. So that's this advisory position. When you leverage yourself with great technology like Synder, you get more time and bandwidth to be able to do a better job, but now you have the time to actually advise and give counsel to your business owner. So I love that. I'd really love to, we mentioned that briefly, multiple sales channels, because it's not like people are just selling one thing. How would our listener be using Synder to manage bookkeeping for businesses that have multiple sales channels?
Yeah, well, I would start that in today's world, each e-commerce have to have multiple sales channels, because audience, for example, in Amazon and audience in Etsy are different. And having be available on multiple sales channels is just increase your visibility of your products and increase your traffic and increase your sales. And we see clients, for example, that in Amazon, but we know that, for example, Amazon fees are pretty high. And we saw clients who were selling first purchase on Amazon, and then they were selling to the same client through Shopify, for example. Yeah. And that's why multiple sales channels will be the must probably for the next 10 years for e-commerces. And then again, at the end of the day, you have a problem like with these sunglasses. If someone bought 2 pairs of sunglasses, you need to track this inventory somehow properly, in a single place. So that if you sold it in Shopify, but you also have sunglasses in Amazon, it should be updated. It should be tracked in one system and updated automatically. And here, Synder also can help you with this inventory track and inventory management.
I can already sense that business owners are sleeping better, bookkeepers are sleeping better because of what Synder's doing. You just think about that one little thing. It's data. It's like one source of truth for the business. What is our inventory? Not, I wonder, I think it's, this. No, it's this, because we have one truth. And Synder brings all of it together into one truth, which helps people sleep at night, helps make better business decisions. You said something that I think is super exciting. This idea of selling on Amazon, selling on, these different sales channels. As a bookkeeper that specializes in e-commerce, that is going to be an incredible, valuable knowledge to go to a business and say, look, here's where you're missing out. Here are the other opportunities because if you're working with multiple businesses, this is what you're going to learn. You're going to learn all of these different aspects of the business and really be an expert, not only in just helping them keep track of it all and get to one source of truth, but also how to advise them on how to maximize their profit, maximize their sales growth by using these amazing tools, which I would imagine many business owners do not know that.
Yeah, like you just said, exactly. And even not just you should use Amazon, but for example, like I described with this business strategy, you should do your first sales through Amazon, and then you can go through your original website, so because it will be cheaper for your business. And this knowledge that bookkeepers can learn from existing clients, because they don't need to do all these manual tasks, and they can just learn.
Wonderful. I've heard people say and complain about, many of our listeners complaining about refunds, chargebacks, the way that these different systems do all of that. And, there's huge implications in this and how a system does it. How does Synder solve that? Again,
it's a great question because it's a huge pain for all of the clients. The problem here is that every single system behave in its own rules. Yeah, there is no common rule how they behave with all these refunds and chargeback. One of them just do a deposit and then remove it because you can won dispute, you can lost your dispute. Others doing like a double entries and then remove it. It's very different. And the idea of Synder, when we were designing Synder, we said like, okay, it should not be a problem for the clients who are using Synder. And Synder operates in a way like each system operates. If eBay will do a refund and then do a deposit in terms of work with disputes, for example, then Synder will do exactly the same. If Stripe will create a dispute and do an adjustment, then we will do similar to your account and we'll do just an expense and then just get back with deposit. So we created in Synder possibility to avoid all these complications and do it as any system do. Okay, Synder will do exactly the same, so there will be no issues in cash flow. And reconciliation is always a one-click action. Just reconcile. Done.
Boom. That sounds exciting. You know, it just has me thinking of this. These eBay, Shopify, Amazon, list goes on, Etsy, they were all created by entrepreneurs. And what do our bookkeepers know about most entrepreneurs? They have no clue about bookkeeping or accounting or generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP. And that's really what I hear the real opportunity here is that you understand it and you're building a tool to help people do it the way it should have been done in the first place. But you don't create roadblocks or break things because you've built it the way each of these apps need it. And it brings it back in exactly the way the bookkeeper is going to want it and love it and know that it's done right. Super exciting. Now, we live in a global economy. Everywhere. I mean, I bought something on Etsy and I was like blown away. It came from this little tiny village in Vietnam. And I looked at the tracking. I mean, I think it hit every country before it got to me. It's remarkable. So we're living in this multi-currency, multi-global scenario. I'm sure that's got to be some challenges there. Does your solution help in that area?
Yeah, for sure. Multi-currency is one of the greatest our competitive advantage on the market because we are from day one working with United States, Canada, Great Britain, and Australia. And there are lots of multi-currency transactions between Canada and United States and same for Great Britain market, because they sell to EU. So, Synder not just enable your multi-currency, but enable multi-currency in a way you prefer. For example, there can be two ways you handle multi-currency. For example, in Canada, if you're living in Canada and you're selling in the United States, in one scenario, you will have your bank account in Canadian dollars only, but you will sell in United States dollars and Canadian dollars. And this is one scenario when Synder will calculate the conversion rate based on payment provider used. Because if Stripe did this conversion rate, then we will take it from Stripe. If PayPal, then PayPal. Square, then Square, and so on. Yeah. But if you are selling from Canada to the United States, but you have both Canadian dollars account and United States dollars account, then there is no calculations, but you need to specify a separate account in the accounting platform where all your sales and expenses for Canadian dollars and for United States coming. So they come to different accounts. They should come to different accounts. And in this way, also you can configure it in Synder and specify those two different accounts. So we in Synder created a flexible platform where you can do it any way you like. If you have only account in the United States dollars, you still can sell in euros, in pounds, in Australian dollars, in Canadian dollars, and we will help you with proper conversion rate. So that accounting, again, our main point and is reconciliation. Reconciliation should be a one-click operation. There should not be any discrepancy. You should go, just check it with bank and done. It's all done.
Wow. That's a big one, because if you don't get this right with currency, there can be huge swings in the final numbers, which it can either mean you're paying a heck of a lot more taxes at the end of the day, or you're not paying enough. So that's a big one. Exciting that it's one of your competitive advantages, and just by the sounds of it, it sounds like it's making life a heck of a lot easier for many, many bookkeepers. There's this, I remember reading this article saying, the worst profession, or the top 10 professions that are going to be extinct in the next, couple of years, and bookkeeping was one of them. And it made a lot of, rounds. It was there and people are sharing it, and oh my goodness. I laughed when I saw it, because I know that's not even close to being true, but I'd love to get your take on it. And I think we've answered that a little bit in this episode already, but I'd love to take it. It's like, what will software replace bookkeepers in the future?
No, for sure, no. I mean, we see right now lots of talks about artificial intelligence and machine learning. Yeah, this is the main point which is saying artificial intelligence should replace a bookkeeper, for example. But no, we see that the complexity is different, yeah? And the complexity is, okay, as I said, first of all, someone need to know how to configure the system properly, not for all e-commerce businesses, but for this particular e-commerce business, because this particular e-commerce business sell in its own way, in his states, in different countries, or somehow in a different, and there should be a man or a woman, a bookkeeper, who will do this change, who will do this configuration, who will explain the system how to behave. And for expenses, for example, also, there will be always man in the middle, because even for any business, you have an expenses like Google expense, but even in QuickBooks Online or in a big, huge providers, they cannot do it automatically. And you need to do it manually, because no one knows for this Google expense, it's for AdWords or it's for Google services. In statement, it's not clear. In just saying Google. So you cannot teach machine learning to use it in the same way, because it's two different expenses. One is advertising marketing, and another is software. For example, and there are lots and lots of similar examples where there still need to be a person, a bookkeeper, who will confirm, validate the data, who will be the guy who configures the systems for this particular business. And that's why it's will be available there for, I think, for all the time.
For all time.
But it will be changed. Of course, like we described, less time on manual tasks, more time on advising for this particular business.
That's right. It's just, we don't have to go very far to see where change is, whether it's business regulations, tax changes, the way people do business. I mean, you could almost call bookkeepers business change advisors. That's what they're going to do. Everything's going to be changing daily, and things need to be configured. They need to be monitored. They need to be optimized. That isn't going away. In fact, it's just becoming more so. So we're able to do more with more clients, because we've taken away some of the manual things, and that's exciting opportunity, and certainly in e-commerce space for sure. So that's the we need an article on why this is one of the most exciting professions on the planet right now, to be a bookkeeper, with using programs like Synder to make your life a lot easier, not only for yourself but for your clients. Now, barriers to entry here. Do you find that bookkeepers today are still attached to using Excel, maybe afraid to switch to online apps like that? Or are we over that? Are we through that?
I think we're still on this. Yeah, it's for both. I would say for bookkeepers and for businesses sometimes. Yeah, because it's like a habit. Yeah, you know how it's working. You know how to do something with Excel file. But when it's come to more and more going to online, yep, it's much more easier to do with online systems. And yep, we need to fight with this barrier. And I think it's a matter of time to move from Excel, because right now still the first, I would say the biggest accounting platform in the world is Excel. It's Excel files. Yep. I mean,
Yes,
everyone knows this. And and still there are plenty of tasks that can be done in Excel. But for putting the data, it's much more accurate with automatic systems, not with Excel, because finding the discrepancy, finding the error are much more complicated when you're working with Excel files. Yes, of course, all the bookkeepers know how to do it because they have all templates and all the stuff, but it will take only a few hours, but in automatic system, it will not take at all any time, because if there will be a failure, you will see this failure and you will understand why the discrepancy happened. Yep. There cannot be two answers for the same question. So yeah, it's challenging, but I think we all need to evolve, and bookkeepers are the ones who are ready to evolve, who can evolve, who can drive businesses to evolve. Yeah.
Well, this is I think it's an exciting opportunity for bookkeepers to be involved in e-commerce and really be paying attention to this. And that really is the theme of this episode, I think, is this exciting opportunity that is right in front of bookkeepers. And, there's a book that was written several years ago called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And one of those habits is sharpen your saw. This is one of the sharpening the saw. This is not just sharpening the saw. This is getting a better tool. And when you have a better tool to do a job, it gives you more confidence, it gives you more job satisfaction, and the outcome is just so much better. So I know that the bookkeepers who jump on opportunities like this are going to be more successful in their business long term because they got in early and they understood it better than the competitors. So this has been absolutely excellent. I'd love to know where next for Synder. What are you going to be developing? Are there new things coming?
Yep, we already working on our own invoicing part of application, so that it's much more easier for clients to like you said, to be in a single source of truth. If you're already in source of truth, do your invoicing here as well. And also, it's more about giving additional integrations and with multiple payment providers, sales channels. We already integrated with the biggest one, but there are still lots and lots of local payment providers and commerce systems, which are much more, they have thousands of clients, but they don't have a public API, so that anyone can use it in 1 to 3, in 3 clicks, and we are trying to give this opportunity to them as well. We're trying to partner with them and to integrate with them so that we can bring these thousands and thousands of clients in the automation world, not just working with only Excel or working with some manual sheets, but working with automated solution.
It's exciting. Very exciting. Michael, this has been absolutely amazing. I'm very excited for our listener to be learning about this. And really, I hope they get the opportunity that's in front of them here. Where can people find out more about yourself and getting into the Synder app?
Yep. You can find me on Twitter. Me personally, it's Michael Astreiko. And for the Synder, the best way is our website, which is synderup.com.
Synderapp.com.
Yep. SYNDERAPP.com.
Excellent. And we will have that link in our show notes. And is there something like a trial, or can they figure out how it works and get in there and play with it? How does that look?
Yep, it's just a one-click action. So you have a full feature, all functionalities available in your trial account. You have possibility to do 10 things for free. So you can see how it's working, to test it with multi-currency, all included. So there is nothing limiting you to make this test.
Beautiful. Well, if you have e-commerce clients, this would be one to check out and get involved with. There's also, Michael, you mentioned you have a blog with lots of resources and training, and I imagine that would be at your website as well. Michael, on behalf of our listeners, I want to thank you for your generosity in coming here, supporting the podcast, and as well sharing your expertise and knowledge about e-commerce and where things are going for our listener.
It's been a pleasure for me, and thank you so much, Michael, for having me.
And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.